As if we needed more proof that the 90s are alive and well, X-Men the Animated Series is making a comeback. Disney has announced X-Men 97, a new Disney Plus series picking up where the original left off 3 decades ago. It's an exciting time for X fans, but we also have a lot of questions. While we wait for more news about Marvel's animated X-Men revival, let's look back at how the original cartoon ended and the biggest questions surrounding the new show. X-Men the Animated Series lasted for 5 seasons and 76 episodes between 1992 and 1997. Unfortunately, the series was clearly showing its age by the final season, with Saban Entertainment cutting costs and switching production to a different animation studio. That raises the question, will X-Men 97 build on that final stretch of episodes, or will the new series ignore Season 5 entirely and move in a different direction? The answer could heavily influence the course of the new series. The original finale shows an injured Professor X retiring to heal and spend time with Lilandra and Shi'ar, leaving the reformed Magneto to take charge of the Xavier Institute. Will X-Men 97 build on that open-ended finale and show us what happens when the X-Men are partnered with a former enemy? Or will the series revert to a more traditional, nostalgia-friendly status quo? And will the show also acknowledge Marvel's X-Men 92 comic, which also continued the anime series storyline? For many X-Men fans, the animated series is still the gold standard when it comes to how these characters sound, and don't even get us started on that theme music. Marvel's announcement makes it clear that surviving cast members will return, including Cal Dodd as Wolverine and Lenore Zahn as Rogue. Unfortunately, many series veterans have passed away since the original series ended. We assume Marvel's gonna recast key characters like Cyclops, but they may face a difficult challenge in replacing such iconic voices. There's also the question of newcomers like Jennifer Hale and Ray Chase. Will they be taking over familiar roles or voicing new characters entirely? The series certainly has a wealth of untapped material to explore now. On that note, one of the reasons X-Men the Animated Series proved so successful is that it borrowed liberally from the comic book source material. Over the course of those 5 seasons, the series lent its own take on iconic X-Men tales like the Dark Phoenix Saga, Age of Apocalypse, Weapon X, and Days of Future Past. The series remains the most faithful adaptation we've seen in any medium. We assume X-Men 97 will follow a similar approach. There's certainly no shortage of new material to mine. Since the animated series wrapped in 1997, the comics have given us major storylines like House of M, which ended with most of the world's mutants being depowered, the epic crossover between Avengers vs. X-Men, and the truly game-changing twists in House of X and Powers of X. Whether or not the X-Men 92 comic is treated as part of the animated continuity, that series may give us an idea of what to expect from X-Men 97. Expect some familiar X-Men stories to be remixed, reimagined, and filtered through a nostalgic lens. Much like fellow Fox Kids series Batman the Animated Series, X-Men raised the bar when it came to maturity and storytelling depth in superhero cartoons. X-Men drove headlong into the source material, exploring the ongoing conflict between humanity and mutants, and pushing characters like Jean Grey and Morph into some pretty dark places. That said, the series still faced plenty of limitations when it came to tone and content. Nowhere are those limitations more obvious than with Wolverine, whether it's Logan's sanitized approach to cursing,
"Alright, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash,"
or the fact that he never seemed to stab anything that wasn't a robot. It's obvious the show is being aimed at a relatively kid-friendly audience. Is that still going to be the case with X-Men 97? Is Marvel still taking an all-ages approach to X-Men, or is this series being aimed squarely at 90s kids who are now fully grown and perfectly happy to see Wolverine spill some blood? The costumes in X-Men the Animated Series defined the look of the X-Men as much as their voices during the 90s. In many ways, the series was a perfect storm, combining classic 70s and 80s X-Men storylines with a more dynamic contemporary look and feel. The X-Men comics have undergone several big visual shifts in the years since, including a phase where everyone was decked out in black leather. Will X-Men 97 stick to its roots or opt for a more modernized look and feel? The show's title may give us the answer. The series is very much tied to a specific era of X-Men fandom, and we doubt the animators have any interest in changing those iconic costumes. Sorry Wolverine, you'll have to keep wearing that yellow spandex for now.
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
X-Men the Animated Series isn't the only classic Marvel cartoon where fans have been clamoring for a revival. Its successors, X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men, both have devoted fan bases of their own. If anything, both series are in even greater need of sequels. Evolution ended after 4 seasons in 2003, at a time many would argue the series was just hitting its stride. Wolverine and the X-Men ended after just 1 season in 2009, teasing an Age of Apocalypse-inspired Season 2 that never came to fruition. We can't help but wonder if X-Men 97 might pave the way for future animated revivals. 90s kids may look to X-Men the Animated Series as the gold standard, but there's an entire generation that grew up with Evolution instead. At the very least, we have to wonder if X-Men 97 will draw inspiration from those shows with its portrayal of the X-Men. Could the new series take a more teen-oriented approach and focus on the Xavier Institute as a school? Will X-Men 97 explore some of the themes of Wolverine and the X-Men, as our heroes try to chart a path forward without Xavier to guide them? The best thing this new series can do is honor all of the X-Men cartoons that have come before, not just X-Men the Animated Series. What do you want to see from X-Men 97? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to check out our rundown of every X-Men ever and Wolverine's convoluted movie timeline. And be sure to like and subscribe to IGN wherever you watch.